you, my friend?
How are you, my friend?
Who taught you how to fly, Ellis?
I started with Arthur Whitcomb,
When was that?
1937, down on the Marlborough Street Airport, right where American Optical is now.
Oh, is it airfield down there?
He had a Cub and a Taylor craft, and they had a guy by the name of Steve Rossetti flew, but I flew with Arthur. Had an old J2 or J3 Cub with a throttle on a rod instead of a handle.
Yeah.
I can remember flying that. Then I started flying with Lee Bowman, and he come to Keene in 1940.
I didn't realize there was an airfield down by American Optical.
Oh yeah, yeah. Airfield, then Lee come, and I went up there. Quick, she come in. I went up that first noon I got, and she said, "You want to fly?" I said, "Yeah." That's what do you think I'm here for? So I flew, and he said, "You ever fly?" He said, "You must have flown before." I said, "No, I've only flown a few hours." And so he said, "We got logbook?" I said, "I think so." So he flew me another couple hours and soloed me. And it was fun.
When did you meet Doug?
I met your father, Doug. I wish I couldn't find that story. I was working for Bowman. I had your uncle work for me at the old airport, Scotty Jr. And I had it in the shop, and I said, this young fella come in, kind of quiet, and asked if I could get a job there. I said, "Yeah, what can you do?" Well, he says, I'm interested in airplanes. And he said, "I can do probably most anything you want me to do." I was just kind of quiet and slow at first, but I noticed that everything he did was very meticulously done. And he kept working, and finally he started flying, and that was back in the late 40s, 45 probably, when I got out of the Navy. Because he wasn't at the old airport, he was down at the new airport. And I had the old shop was down at the old powerhouse. And he worked there with me, and he started flying, and he got his license up through, and then he went to work for Northeast as a flight engineer, and worked his way up to co-pilot, captain, and so forth for Northeast, and then transferred to Delta. And then he finally come to me one day. He fled the DC-3s, DC-6s. I flew with him up to Lebanon. He let me fly the 4-engine Viscount. He's flying the 4-engine Viscount. There's a route from New York, I guess, Keene, Lebanon. I think that's where I stopped. I flew it back and up over the what is it they call them? Well, the fellas have that game refuge. I was flying down. He said, "Don't bank over 30 degrees." He says, "The passengers on board wonder what." I was coming down the valley. Anyway, then he come to me one day, and he says, "Northeast is getting jets. What do you think about that?" I said, "Move them just as fast as you can. Those damn piston engines are trying to thrash themselves apart the first time you start them." I said, "That jet will keep spinning." And he got into them, and he said he fell in love all over again. Yeah. Flew the jet. And he flew the jets from there to the time he passed away. DC-9s. I guess that's the only, I think the 9 maybe the only jet he flew. I'm not
DC-9?
sure. I think so. That's the MD-80 now. I call it the MD-80. Yeah.
When did you guys decide to build the friendship?
It was in 62, I think. I was down at the airport. Doug come in, sitting there on the bench, talking, reminiscing a little bit about old times and what he'd accomplished. And I liked his engineering flight. And he says, "You ever think of building an airplane?" I said, "Yes, I've thought of it for a long time. But I didn't have the money. had some time, but didn't have the money and time. Well, he says, let's get together, look up, see what's fine. We talked about building a pit special. I said, well, Doug, we can build it. You can watch me fly it, unless you make the fuselage bigger. He kind of laughed. He just had a sense of humor. Anyway, we looked around and looked around, and finally, I found a photo of Rod Jocelyn flying the PJ built by DePuzo. I said, that's just like a Great Lakes, so it's all been redesigned. I said, it's all the same dimensions, have the same wing, the same airfoil, the same. And so he beefed up the fuselage, he beefed up the wings, especially, and put a big engine, put a GO 435 engine at 260 horse, and when that Great Lakes started out with an 80 horsepower Cirrus to a 90, then it went to a 125 one, and then Harold Cryer had one. He put a 165 one, a Super Scarab. That's the most modified Great Lakes that was ever done. Extra wires, but we didn't need extra wires. The Puzo said you could knock off either fly-in wire or landing wire. You still fly the airplane. It's built so like that PJ. And today, everything was stainless steel. Now, they had built every bit of those wings except the fittings and the compression tubes and the wing bow. I built all the fittings. And when it went down with the bow, it fit on there perfectly. He had everything. And he would come up, he'd get down and fly in. Like first in the morning, he'd head up, he'd stop and get a Del Monte steak and Fitzwilliam, and we'd get a 5-gallon bucket. He said, I got a new hibachi. Crumple up whole newspapers, throw them, touch the match, and fire up, and cook the steak, they call it hibachi. Anyway, we'd talk about different things in the airplane. Probably been mulled over dozens of times. Some of the moves and some of the ways we do that. And some of the things we did, we made the aileron. Well, I guess I designed the ailerons because it didn't have the print. But we made them up out of soft aluminum, hard aluminum. Couldn't get a bending radius good enough. I made up a little jig to make them. I still got them somewhere. And cut them out, cut the holes, detented them, and relieved them, detented them. So together we said, those aren't satisfactory. So we cut a whole new bunch out of soft aluminum. Then we bent the corners good. Then he took them down to the northeast, and he treated them for us.
Yeah.
So that worked out good.
So now he did all the woodworking, you did all the metal work?
All the woodwork he did, except putting the formers on the fuselage. You know, it took me more time to weld down all those standoffs on the fuselage and put those formers on so they're correct. They did build the fuselage. More time was involved.
How close was the aircraft to completion when Doug died?
We had it assembled in 1967. It was building the interplane struts, the end struts. And he come up one day again and used to do that. God, he's getting so it looked like an airplane. It won't be too long for we'd be able to fly it. Had a fire. And it burned the right wing off my Cub. Something fell out. I was sitting outside of it. And I got the guys to move the airplane out of the shop because the shop roof was shingles started to burn. And so they moved it out, took it apart, moved it out. And it was in November of that same year that he passed away, had these accidents.
When was the last time you saw him?
The last day I saw him was probably the day before he went for the flight he had. He said he was going down to negotiate the airline AOPA contract union for all the pilots in the airlines. And that was the night he negotiated that, and I think he instigated one of the greatest documents for airline pilots in the history, and he got killed coming home that night. If I'm right. I'm not sure, but I think that's the way it was. And I worked all day, and I was laying on a bed. And Joy come in and said, Al Matt just called. He said, Doug was killed. Jesus Christ. What a shock. The biggest shock I've ever had in my life. More so than when my folks died. I didn't expect him to go. I anticipated the death of my folks. I didn't anticipate his. In fact, together we said, well, whoever goes first has the airplane go. That was just a verbal agreement. I expected that. I didn't expect to be here this long. I expected I'd go first, and whatever I did was all his. It didn't work out that way. I never told your mother that a long time. I wasn't going to say anything about that. No need of it. Anyway, it was a great relationship and a great friendship.
Who named the aircraft?
I did. What else could you name it? What else? That picture. Right there. What else you gonna name it? You can't do it. No, you can't name it anything else. Yeah.
What was the...
And I didn't, because you read that, I didn't touch it. After he died, I didn't touch it for almost 2 years. Couldn't bear to look at it. And not that I didn't like it, but the memories were too damn strong. So I finally got, time heals wounds to a degree. Don't heal all wounds, but it heals them to a degree. I said, if I was killed, Doug would finish it and fly it. He'd know I'd want him. So I said, he'd probably want me to. So I started working on it again. I shouldn't have built the tanks myself. Should have had somebody else weld them, but I didn't.
Why?
So, I didn't do a good job. Wouldn't pass his inspection at all. I put some sloshing calm on them, and they worked out. But then I put the engine in, run it in, covered it, the whole thing, instruments, got it all together, put it out back at my house. You've probably seen those pictures.
Yep.
Run it in, checked everything out, got the inspectors to inspect it, and when we got ready, they said, you're going to take it apart, take it down there? No, I'll fly it on a golf way. You think I'll take it apart again? No way. So I went out and they bent a little maple tree over so I could get across the road down on the golf course, and I taxied up the other end. I said, I knew it was going to go. I said, pushed the throttle out, this goddamn thing was in the air before I got the throttle wide open. Flew down to the airport, landed it. Get ready to take off, had to prop it. Took off, and on the takeoff, the engine started to black and splatter, and I said, what the hell? The mixture control was walking back. I didn't have the throttle, I felt it this way. Got back in and pulled the cowls, and the rod, mixture control rod, from the firewall to the carburetor was about that far from one of the tubes in the vibration. So I had to put a dog leg in it. That's the only problem I ever had. Oh, one other. Flying at cruising power, the elevators was that far above the stabilizer. I said I gotta raise the stabilizer. So I raised the stabilizer 3/8 of an inch, I think. That's the only two things it is.
How's it fly?
Christ, you could do a slow roll with it. Ailerons were too light. If I'd have kept flying, Doug had been here, we'd had to done something. He put spades on or put some tube on. They were too light. When Doug got the prints, he built the wings with the old aileron well. And Nick DePuzza changed it to a different shape. So I designed the ailerons. I probably should have made them bigger. Should have made them come off so they were bigger than the trailing edge where they met. Then the airflow has to go up over them. I made them just the same as and it was always too light. And I asked Nick, I says, in your new ailerons, you moved the hinge point aft, so it's more counterweight forward. And I said, sorry if I do that? He said, don't go more than 5/8. So I think I went about a half an inch. but they're too light. You couldn't let fly it. You couldn't let go of the stick. It'd go somewhere.
Yeah.
So they had to stabilize the airline, but it was light. I could have done a slow roll with my fingertips.
Yeah.
Too light. That's the only. It flew. Oh, like Homesick Angel. Flew beautiful. It would do anything you asked it to do. You had, and I flew down the air show with it. I only had 6 or 7 hours on it, and I was going to do a low level scene for the inspector on Friday, and it was fogged in and rained in, so I couldn't do it. You know, he says you better do it up at altitude. So Saturday at the air show, I fired it up and went up, did the whole routine, and come down. He said, "You can come down and give me a little way down altitude." I says, to myself, I said, "I only got 7 hours." I said, I can almost do it blindfolded. But I said, well, I am not going to come down here and then all of a sudden have something go and clobber myself in front of other people and a whole lot. So I did it up, kept doing it up about. But you could have done it. You're slow with that, you could stick that nose right on a pinpoint and never move in a roll. You could roll that thing. I rolled it up. I was up doing aerobatics over the golf course up, and my neighbor says, "God, you do a lot of those things. They scare me to death when you're doing them." I think it scares you. I think you do it to me up there. Oh, it was beautiful. I've never flown. I've flown a lot of Wacos. I've flown Stearmans. I've flown Standards. I've flown a lot of biplanes, but that's the sweetest flying airplane I ever flew.
Well,
I wish that could have been identified.
Yeah. What was your favorite part about the project?
The favorite what?
Your favorite part about the project?
Comrade, friendship, mulling over stuff.
What was the most difficult part?
Boy, I guess we was too talented. Wasn't anything. I guess there wasn't anything too difficult. I think at times we mulled over certain things, and I think the difficulty of it was ironed out in conversation. Actually, not the actual application of it, but I think it wasn't anything really difficult, I don't think. Fuel tanks, probably, if he wasn't there. I made jigs and bent everything out, but I shouldn't have tried to weld them. I didn't have a good Hilliard welder. It would keep skipping. And that's probably the most difficult part that I find.
When did the friendship fly last?
Oh, I can't. When I flew it over to Jaffa the last time, I can't remember when. Must have been in 70. I don't know, I got a logbook. I don't know, I set it out. 75, probably.
Yeah.
Only 3 years.
How much do you think the whole project cost altogether?
About $8,000, I think it was in there. I think I said it in here. I think it was about $8,000. I think I said it in here.
How many?
Oh, I spent money on it after I did, but.
How many hours you got into it? Building? How long?
Oh, that's something we didn't keep a log of time.
Yeah.
You don't do that. It was you seen that? That was a picture of Dad and Matt and
Yeah.
Bill and the fella. No, it didn't keep track of time. I put in quite a bit of time, of course, and money after Doug passed away. Corporate taxes and all the crap, and I building fabric and dope and quite a few things. But he put in more money than I did. I didn't have it to put in. He put in about, I think he got pretty $6,000 into it. Back then it was.
Wait, now, the first time you took it up, you said you weren't nervous?
Oh, no.
No.
You know, if I'd flown it 100 years, it flew so damn good. It surprised me that it was awful. One thing about it, I had it over at the golf course, and I went somewhere and come back and I had 5 inches of snow on the ground, all over the airplane. I had a cover in the cockpit. So I'm going to fly out to Jaffrey. Drifted, a few drift outs there too. So I fired it up and warmed it up, took good full throttle. I took off right from where I was. I didn't try to taxi. Kitty caught her across and she broke ground. The main wheels come off the ground before the tail wheel did. That's how. I went along. Of course, I knew it was fully salt, so I bled off a little stick. The tail wheel, when I come back, I could see the main gear went off the ground before the tail wheel, and the tail wheel touched the ground without the main gear out about 100 feet. Because look at the jacket. So it shows you can take one off.
Who else has flown the Friendship?
Only one person, Harvey Sawyer.
Yeah?
He only have one phone.
What did he say about it?
He loved it. I don't think he'll ever do anything with it, though.
Who was a better pilot, you or Doug?
Doug. He is meticulous. I was always considered I'm very good at controlling an aircraft in flight, but a pilot is something more than just controlling the airplane. A pilot has many things. Know his airplane. Well, I knew him, but Doug knew his airplanes. Yeah. Everything right there. When he was flying the DC-3, the DC-4, Viscount, he knew every damn procedure in it, you know. He was so meticulous. And, but me, I love to fly. I did a pretty good job of flying, but as a pilot, I know a pilot is more than just flying an airplane. I can. But he did I remember him telling the stories about Zwink. He was a little, you know what they called him in Northeast? Captain God. You know what that comes from?
Yeah.
For being damn meticulous. New co-pilot come out, shivering and shaking a little bit, and he passed a flight clearance to your dad. He said, I think this is what our clearance is going to be. When you know what it's going to be, bring it to me. See what I mean? Meticulous. And that's why they call him Captain God. He was in the cockpit with Zwink. He was a co-captain at Zwink one day in the Viscount. And something come up that Doug was writing. It was a long time, wrong. And Doug got after him so much. He says, what would the passengers think that has the captain up in the front cockpit bawling his eyes out? He needled him on us, so he broke down and bawled in the cockpit of a pre-flight inspection. These are stories that Doug, I get that from Doug. Then Doug and another went to New York to get a DC-9 because they had a little pinhole, a little hole near the windshield. Pressurization. He said they're flying back below, well, I don't know what it was, but the co-captain had a pencil. Well, I can't. She decompressed. He said, you're not going to be in very good I don't know what, with the maintenance crew back at, he said, they got to put 90 of those oxygen masks, tuck them back up, and they all come down. He said, you're not going to be in good face with them. Oh, God, it's fun.
If you had it to do again, would you do it again?
Yeah, if I had him to do it with. I can't think of anybody else. He'd come up and he'd say, I had a 3-rib day. Ever see probably seen the picture of him nailing ribs? Mm-hmm. Like that, over him.
That used to be my living room.
Yeah. Down there one night, Joel and I was down there, and we finally been out in the place where the wings were. He got 2 of them about built. And I winked at Doug and I said, get ready to build those other 2 in the living room. I said, be able to hang one. And I said, you get the hell out of here.
Who said that, Marty? What did your wife Joy have to say about the project?
She liked it. She's all in favor of it.
Yeah.
In there, I had the wing in the bedroom. She said, I didn't know which one he loved the most, the airplane or me. I think I had a quick quip in that. Talking's funny. But we had him hung up. We hung him up. We'd already figured out we'd hang him up overhead in the den there, whatever was the den. You got some of the pictures, ain't you?
Yeah. We should talk about some of those pictures.
Well, that was him. That was him. His bench in the den down there. That's with him. That's his jig. The main rib jig. You sit there and you probably find a little nail hammer there.
I still have that hammer.
1/4-inch nails. He drove over 10,000 1/4-inch cement nails in the gussets of those ribs. This is the first thing in the lower right-hand wing. I hadn't put the wingtip bow on here, see? That's the lower right-hand wing. Fireplace. Yeah. Fireplace. It's the same thing. Piano. When your dad died, your mother wanted to know. She couldn't find high flight. She wanted to say that at his funeral. So I went to the library and got it. After he died in Greece, she found it behind the piano. It was on the piano, flopped over back. High flight sign.
I have a copy of that.
Yeah.
I've always liked, I remember these two, the pistons for the fireplace irons.
Oh, those pistons?
Yeah.
I wonder what they are now.
Well, not in this picture, but this picture they are.
Oh. I wonder what they are now. That was two master rods of an old Curtis Challenge Ranger, 6-cylinder. It was a twin-row radio. Wrong way Corrigan flew across the ocean with 2 rows, and those were the master rods and the pistons on them. I don't know whatever happened to them. They're beautiful. You ain't got them, did you?
No, sir.
I don't know whatever happened to them.
I don't know.
I messed around and I locked them on and put the piston on. I made them, there he is. Do you ever see any happier looking? You probably never got, how old are you when you passed away? 3?
4.
4. Oh, you did? So you knew some, but we decided to hang him up overhead when I told him about it. I said, we move the sofa back there and shove that. See, you get that. No, you get the hell out of there. There's the fittings I built. Then I put the bow on. I built that measurement, come down that thing, fit on there perfect. Oh dear. That's the step, the right-hand wing. These are the compression tubes. 18/8 stainless steel wires. You notice there's a 1032 thread, and it's necked down so that the rod there has the same tension strength as the root diameter of the threads. So it's square on there, one's the left and the right. Great. It had to be accurate too, all that stuff. The ribs, all the ribs had to be on just right so the wires didn't touch. Here's the old picture of the first prints we got set out. That's the tail brace. That's the rudder horn. That's the pad on the back of it, and that's the thing holding the springs. We talked to Nick DePuzzo, wanted to get the print of the thing there, and I put that piece of rope on and sent it to Nick, and he said, will that hold? He sent us a print. Yeah, these standoffs, all the way around there, to bend up a little piece, drill it, weld it onto a piece of 3/8 tube, or quarter, I think it was, then weld it on the fuselage. The right spot at the right was longer than it took me to build that whole fuselage. I built the fuselage, that's it, down the cellar.
Tell me a little bit about the engine.
That engine come up as an Army takeout, and Doug bought it. I got checks. He bought it, and we got it home. We took it apart, and I looked at it. I says, "Got a flat lobe in the cam." I got you right. That's the only thing that's wrong with the engine. Takeout. Something happened. Either it wasn't case it was nitrated hard or something, a soft spot didn't get worn around. Didn't get good valve action, proper valve action. And these are the ailerons I built. I designed the things and didn't have a print on them at all, so we built them together. But we never had a print on the ailerons. The only print we don't have, we still don't have it.
Do you still have the blueprints?
Yeah, you want them? Got 2 sets probably.
Yeah, I think I
I think I got 2 sets. I had to give one to Harvey, and Doug had a set. I think both sets. I had it down I built the center section.
That's the center of the top wing.
See, I think I built that all by myself. I think I built that after Doug passed away. I'm not sure. I ain't gonna say that. I'm not sure about that. But that's the center section. Before we didn't. It's a competition center section. There's no cutout. And I put a steerman seat in the back so it goes up and down. Great for a big and small guy. I like it when I'm doing aerobatics. I like to be way up. Orientation, you can see down. If you're up here, you can't orientate so good as if you can see down. And I put the side stuff on. I put all on flush screws. All flush screwed. He'd been proud of me, maybe. Seat, that's a steerman seat. I bought a steerman fuselage down in Massachusetts. Saved the seat. What else did I say? Firewall. I don't know. You've got them all here. Here's the engine apart.
How many horsepower?
260. Geared Lycoming. GO 435 C2B. The designation of it. Down there was wire. Tubes. I put a hole. When I built the fuselage, there's a hole in every tube. I put a pint of oil in each. Through the front, I put a pipe plug in here. There's a pint of oil that goes through all those, goes through every tube in there except for the standoff. Probably nobody ever did that before. I don't know. So doing rolls, that would internal lubrication would be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I had to raise that about 3/8 of an inch. It's the only thing I had to do. There's a tube, a hole, a pipe plug. There we go. Jesus, wasn't that? Was that me?
Handsome devil.
Get the rudder together. Doug was pleased with my welding. That's the picture. This is when I was getting ready to put the cowling on. I put the engine in there and a cylinder on. And Doug had bought a 175 cowling. I had to take a piece of pie out of the top, about 8 inches, and bring it together and reshape it. And then I cut another hole here and added for oil radiator. This is my bedroom. I was spraying the silver. Water, I spray silver in the evening. You take and wipe the water right off of it. Silver paint. And 260D. Had it down in there.
Now, was it, you had it all painted before it went up the first time, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is out back of the house. "11-degree sweep back. Top wing was half a degree dihedral in the lower wing. Top was flat. Now, if you wanted a real sport plane, not aerobatics, you could have put 2 degrees dihedral in and put dihedral in the top wing. It would have been more stable. You don't want a stable airplane for aerobatic.
No.
You don't want it stable. You don't want it to try to be good. Hey, your mother's over the bank here.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jonesy, I think. Quite a machine. What a dream. Oh, look at that picture. Oh, yeah. That looked great, though. I just wonder what would happen if they hadn't lost him. What kind of a life he would have had. What different kind of a life I would have had. I'm happy that I had the opportunity to have him as a friend and do what I did with him those few years. It was only a matter of 5 years, I guess, that we was close together. I mean, at the time we started building the airplane, he was gone. About 62 or 67. 5 good years, but
Well, thanks for coming over and talking to us.
good, I'm glad it did. Hey, Quinn.
And Quinn, thank you for being patient.
Yes, good boy. More strawberry here, Quinn.
Strawberry? I think I'm gonna have one.
If you want to read that, yeah, I think it tells a little bit about
Oh yeah, I want to read all this stuff.
in
How old are you now, Russ?
89. 89.
I think on your last birthday, they went down to the fire station and got a burn permit because you had 89 candles
Oh,
on your
that's
birthday.
that's what Pete did. Then Pete told me, short to my brother, you probably never seen one. You get fined. Burn without a permit. And they fined him. And they come around the fall looking for their family. He said, you got the last damn check you ever burned it for me. Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of newspaper clippings in there. I guess that my wife said she didn't have to look at them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll be very careful.
Take out
Oh, you have any movies?